And we're good to go.
Cool. Following written advance notice as required by NJSA 1041 has been provided of this meeting at least 48 hours in advance of today, giving the time, date, and location, and to the extent known at the time of the agenda of this meeting. I've read that wrong, I'm sorry. It doesn't matter. Such notice stated that formal action may or may not be taken. The notice was posted on the bulletin board outside the offices of the municipal clerk, reserved for this and other similar announcements, provided to the Suburban Trends, the newspaper designated by the Borough Council to receive such notices, and filed with the Borough Clerk. Can we have a pledge of allegiance, please? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. Mayor, oath.
Come on up. Raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I state your name.
I, Matthew Stinky,
Do solemnly swear.
do solemnly swear
I will support the Constitution of the United States
I will support the Constitution of the United States
and the Constitution of the State of New
and
Jersey.
the Constitution of the State of New Jersey.
I will bear true faith and allegiance
I will bear true faith and allegiance
to the same
to the same
and to the governments established
and to the governments established
in the United States
in the United States
and in this state,
and in this state,
under the authority of the people.
under the authority of the people.
I will faithfully,
I will faithfully,
impartially,
impartially,
and justly
and justly
perform all the duties of
perform all the duties of
Redevelopment Agency
Redevelopment Agency
according to the best of my ability.
according to the best of my ability.
So help me
So
God.
help me God.
Thank you for your time. Thank you so much. You got to fill this out. Thank you, Lord. There we go.
And you go to the empty seat.
Unfortunately, you got to sit between those two. I can't stop that.
Yeah, that's... Okay, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
All right. Now we can do a roll call.
Okay.
Let's meet him at
Mr. Silverstein,
Here.
Mr. Quigley,
Here.
Ms. Novak will be absent tonight, Mr. Ross,
Here.
Mr. Stinky,
Here.
is that how you pronounce it?
Yeah.
Perfect. Mr. Kimberlin,
Here.
Councilman Venon,
Here.
Mayor Sarah's here, and Mr. Dominic.
Here.
Perfect.
Okay.
And no engineer or planners will be here this evening.
Correct. Okay, minutes, can we approve, a motion to approve the minutes for October 17th? We have a motion, do we have a second?
Oh, wait, hold on, I'm sorry. You're talking to me.
Sorry.
Second.
Pay attention. We have a motion and a second, okay. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Anyone opposed? Anyone present?
Me. Present.
Okay, for which one? Oh, for the 17th?
October 17th, I was not
Okay.
here.
They were both present.
Okay. Can we approve the minutes of October 7th? Can we have a motion, please?
Motion.
I have a second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? Anyone voting present?
Present.
Okay.
Who said, you two, okay. Kimberlin.
Okay, a lot of correspondence, but most of it are things we talked about last month. The first one is a Riverdale ordinance, and we talked about that, permitting indoor recreation as a permitted use. The second one was the Riverdale ordinance establishing the affordable housing zone in that district off of Mathis Avenue, I believe it was. The next one is an ordinance to amend the code for Bush Plaza for Oakland to put a sign there saying that's what it is. You wonder why some of the government things are so expensive. I mean, why they want to put their own sign up, it's fine. A memo just, and I think you saw this, an organization called MG2 is joining Collier's Engineering and Design. They're just merging in another entity. We know that Matt was just appointed, so we have that memo. And Michael Corelli sent a memo out, which you'll, just to think about, it's qualification for 2025 respondents. At your next meeting, it's the reorganization meeting, so you have to determine, who you're going to reappoint. And my guess would be it'll be this, at least on the agenda will be the same people unless another person pops up somewhere. Okay? So that's all that is. Executive Director's Report. Hi,
How are you?
I'm well.
Well, I don't have much say right now, unfortunately, it's been a rough 2 weeks for me personally, so I've been a little tuned out. Long story, so there's not much from me. I had to put a couple dogs down, a couple family issues.
But
So
you
I've not been
did,
very active.
okay, but I do think since the last meeting, you can bring the agency up to date on, the Wanacue Avenue project. I keep calling it the Metamucci project, but it's
223
223 Wanacue. CJM.
The one that's gonna be coming back to the board.
Well, that's.
Oh, yeah, well, that's what we need to talk about. At least we should be brought up to date with that.
Well, he apparently has, I mean, I've been in contact with him more than I care because he calls now every week about changes that he wants to make. So he's out of the ground, but apparently he wants to come back because he wants to change the facade of the building. So I've directed him back to the board to refile post the end of the year.
Mhm.
So I think it'll be an amendment simply to the facade.
Well, I think, because I spoke to the building department, I'm talking to our building department to see if it's a minor or a major. If he classifies it as a minor, it doesn't have to come back to the board. They can just show you, give you the conception, show you what they're doing, but not change the plan. If he's gonna have to change the whole plan, he's gonna have to open up everything. So he has to be unaware of that. That's not a good thing for him.
But by minor, what do you mean, minor site plan?
According to my building director, there's minor improvements and majors. A minor, he can kind of just come in and say, this is what I want to do, the board can approve it. A major, he has to reopen the whole thing and reapply.
As
I'm
I,
sorry, this is the building that's pretty much torn down?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
That we've been waiting for something to
Yeah.
happen for a while,
Yes.
right?
as I understood what he wrote when he first wrote it, and I wrote back to him and told him that he would have to come back here, I kind of got the impression that he wasn't changing any of the interior design or any of the apartments, or even really changing any of the structural part of it. He just wants to put a new facade on. So I think if it's just a new facade, to me, that would be minor, and that's us, not the planning board. That's how I think it should
Yeah.
come down.
Well, and that's what I think they have to discuss.
That was my understanding of the conversation with him.
Because I don't think you guys.
come here.
And he should understand, because I haven't talked to him directly, and maybe you could pass this on. It's probably best if he doesn't want to reopen the whole gamut and go back to starting from scratch again.
No,
No, I
too
think
much
that-
time and money.
Oh, yeah, like Meridian has come in and shown, these are to be the brick that we use. I think that that's to the extent, if he's gonna come in, because there would be there's architectural plans that you guys looked at and said, yep, we want that. He wants to do something slightly different. Should just come in with that, and that could be come in to the agency, show, I would like to replace my architecturals with this facade and have this facade. Are you okay with that? Can we have a resolution? The resolution would be the sheet 14 of the agreement that has the architecturals is amended to have this one, end of story. And that would not need planning board approval.
I think that's the way, and maybe you could pass that on.
Yeah, and I believe, again, from some of the writings we've seen from him, I think he feels that the original facade is probably too modern. I think he indicated he wanted to make it a little bit more colonial looking or something like that, but he wanted to make it more in tone.
It's minor in material, it's
Yeah.
facade related,
That's all I think it is.
Yeah.
Okay,
I'll pass it along, I'll reach out to him tomorrow, but
okay,
I don't think it's anything more than that in the discussion. I've had like half a dozen discussions with him about it.
okay. And we're gonna try to set up a meeting with Vaskin,
Yeah, absolutely.
okay, for the second week in January, I
You'll
think.
be available for that?
If you
I'll
can,
reach out to
Tom?
you second week of January? What's your schedule?
Yeah, I will be available. I'm not gonna make the January meeting though, is my problem. But yeah, I'll be available for another meeting.
Evenings
Okay.
are best, or afternoon?
I mean, I'd prefer afternoon, but I mean, I'll come up at night, I don't really care.
You guys tell me.
Yeah, no, I can make an afternoon meeting. A little bit later the better if I'm gonna leave work early, so yeah.
3, 4,
It's fine, 3 is fine.
Okay, yeah.
does that work for you?
Yeah, that's fine. Okay, we have no conceptual presentation, we have no formal applications. The resolution for Washington Urban Renewal at Pompton Lakes LLC, the Washington Building, I guess with a mix-up between both attorneys, that is still in abeyance and will be here for next month.
Correct, the agreement, the draft is now in his hand, and we're emailing back and forth today. He wasn't available to finish.
Okay. And now the one we have to vote on tonight is the Pompton Smith property, 201 Wanacue Avenue, Block 6300, Lot 1, Zone DBD1. This is the resolution that Andy Brewer and Steve Milanick spent some time trying to work out everything and how to write it. So Andy, if you want to explain this to the board. that
Yeah,
would
this
be
is,
very-
the format is this one that you saw previous month in October, or another one of Steve Monick's clients we looked at, has, just about everything there. This is one, they have several contingencies. One, they're going to need access to, they're going to need the ability to have parking. So it's either going to be, an easement to get across through the pond hole somehow, so they can park underneath, or they're going to need to get, the equivalent number of, parking passes to park in the pond hole from the borough. So that's one of their contingencies, they gotta figure out which that is. They'll get the best one they can. They need, a plan amendment, some of the things have to be changed to make it conforming, some of the setbacks, some of the things. They worked that out with Kristen Russell, exactly what has to be amended in the redevelopment plan. And then that's gonna be proposed, that'll be put in a form of an ordinance to amend the redevelopment plan. And, they will request that the borough do that, the council do that. They also need a financial agreement, pilot. They're going to come up with their financials. I think that it's really going to depend a little bit on if they're going to be building the parking spaces and having the access, as opposed to getting 60 or 50 permits. That'll change the cost structure a little bit. I don't think they started those negotiations with Mr. Corelli or the borough yet, but those three things are contingencies. We also put in one of the funding, since our executive director is an employee, he does not bill by the hour and charge to an escrow. So each of these projects that go forward, we started, it was about roughly $200 a unit. So this is going to be $10,000. The way, since they've got a bunch of contingencies, the way we put it together, and you can approve it like it this way, is $5,000 30 days after this agreement is signed, and $5,000 when the redevelopment plan is amended to allow this. So it would be a total of $10,000 that would be contributed to this. They also have the obligation to satisfy the affordable housing, obligation that would arise from this, which is at a minimum 4 actual units and 180,000, but that is always subject to written approval from the borough's affordable housing consultant to make sure it complies with what your obligation would be. Other than that, it's the form that you've seen. It has it has timeframes for them to get their approvals to move along. Generous timeframes, but they're there. The same obligations to move forward to finance the project. They can't transfer it. And if they, if they don't do it, then we have the ability to terminate and the ability to make sure, we're assist them to get their approvals should they need it.
I just got a question.
Questions?
So when he says 60 spots, is that the exact number he needs for his
It's a
plan?
blank, it's a blank in
It's a
there, because
blank.
we didn't know exactly the number of spots. It's either getting access across the pond hole, or getting enough, whatever the most spots.
Whatever he needs for the number of
You go.
apartments. So it'll be blank, but it'll be reading 1.4 per unit,
Yep.
whatever that number is.
Okay. Any questions? The only thing I had when we look at the concept, the rendering, and this maybe was changed, and we don't have all the plans anymore, and again, this project's been going on forever, but I thought the air conditioning units were going to be the same color, the grills were going to be the same color as
You
the
haven't
brick.
agreed to anything. I kind of did this, so anything you put in, that's going to be, if you decide that that's right, that's going back to him. This hasn't, nothing is agreed until you pass a resolution. So if that's what everybody wants, absolutely. That's,
Right, I mean, that's what we've usually done.
Yeah.
We did
I'm
talk
talking
about it.
that.
so what is, just give me a description in words, so I can.
The air conditioning vents on the outside of the building need to be the same color as the facade that they're on. So the red ones need to be red, the white ones need to be white, the gray or black ones need to be gray or black.
Yep.
Right, that's right.
And the resolution that you have before you says you approve it in substantially the form that's there, so, and again, you haven't approved anything, so.
So,
Yeah.
if I can ask, by vent, I assume you mean it's like a P-TEC unit?
The P-TEC, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we've been asking
To make it,
developers we didn't want the
Color.
whites or whatever they want to do.
Quick
The-
question on, I'm sorry. Go
Go
ahead.
ahead, no, you go.
I know with this particular project, we must have talked about parking like nonstop,
We
as well
did.
as traffic. You know, I don't understand what we could possibly put in there, because I don't think it's gonna work at all from the pond hill standpoint. Didn't we talk a lot about that? I mean,
Well, that's what I was gonna mention to the board, just so they know what, and especially because Matt was new. I think and you guys tell me if I'm saying it's wrong, but what we're gonna bring is, he's gonna come to the council and try to sell either the easement in the back to the council, who's gonna vote on it, yes or no, or if that fails, he has the option to say, I'll buy spots from you, from us, the town, in the pond hole, like, Lakeside Commons did. He has those two options. That's gonna be, and I still have to figure out how that works with the administration, but at least the part of, the easement would be the council's vote. Okay, so if they say no to that, or if they say yes to it, they say yes, then it moves forward and he's got an agreement. If they say no, he doesn't really have a project at that moment, unless he buys the spots. So I just want everybody to understand that.
And they're available.
And they're available.
so are we just saying that we're leaving that all up to the council then?
Well, we would have to.
You have to,
Yeah,
yeah.
the idea is he came here and knowing that they need approval generally from you and approval from the governing body, and you don't meet at the same time, so one's gotta go first. He knows that you need approval
But-
first, so you got the general approval here, but it's contingent on getting that. approval.
But I think, to answer your question directly, we can't approve the easement. So we can say, we're okay with this project if you get the easement, and that's what we're saying. But unless we,
And that's what we're voting on right now?
yes,
Okay.
okay? If they don't get the easement, then the second option is they rent spaces from the
Right, okay.
borough.
Which, by the way, there's been no discussion with the town, with us, about that yet. So, that's just offered here, but there's been no discussion at all with the town on how many spots they would need.
But you're right, we had a lot of conversation about it, and I think we came to the conclusion collectively that we could sit here and talk about this ad infinitum, and we were never gonna solve the parking easement problem. So
Right.
I don't think anybody had any, well, we obviously didn't, because we got it this far. We were okay with the project, but we can't approve the parking.
Yeah, I just remember
that's where we are.
bringing up that parking as well as the traffic pattern,
Mhm.
and just them trying to do was gonna be a big issue, so.
Right. And the traffic, we decided on what was, we did have something on that.
And that would be we talked to the
In here?
engineer, but in the plans. so
In here,
that-
okay,
yeah,
which
so
we
our
don't have.
plans.
But we did talk about that, you are right.
And I'll make sure that, Kristen, will look at that and make sure
Okay.
those are the correct plans and those are addressed.
And for the people that have been on the board long enough, and you guys can remember, when we sold parking spots from the pond hole for other units, they did not go to the council for that decision. That was a decision made by the administration that we had enough spots open to sell them. So that's what I want to check tomorrow, if his first option, the first option is the easement has to come to us, that's no question, it has to come to us. If that gets shot down for any reason, I don't know how the second piece moves. I mean, the council wouldn't really have a lot of knowledge on how many spots and how many we can fit and where everybody parks. Really, the administration and the parking consultant that we hired and the person who's in charge of parking for our town knows all that information. So I don't know how much of a discussion we're gonna have as a council on available spots, because that would be new, they would just learn that day. It's not like we've been talking about that. So I'm gonna say we're gonna table, if it was up to me, and I probably will suggest, we will table that discussion, because they don't have the information to discuss that.
Well, only if they don't approve the easement.
Only if they don't approve it. If they approve the easement, then we're.
Good. Good. And the only other minor thing I had, and I know we talked about this, and I asked them to change this, but they didn't do it, is, and you may remember this, that they weren't supposed to put coffee shop on the awnings, because we didn't want them to,
Right.
necessarily make that a coffee shop, or create more
Right, the illusion that.
illusion that that's what it's going to be, which was supposed to be a generic awning. That's all I had on it, from what I remember. Okay, any other discussion?
I know I'm very late to the party.
Sure, no
I have
problem.
One comment, I'm looking at, on the site plan, and I know this has to go before planning board, what is, I will call the ice cream station corner.
Yes.
If you look at that radius, that curb return radius, it's very large. It's probably 2 or 3 times the curb radius on the other side of the intersection, with what it was the Salvation Army corner. So what that does is that allows higher traffic speeds going around that curve. it lengthens the crosswalk distances, and gives less pedestrian space. So if we asked, at least during planning board, maybe it's just a comment for consideration during the planning board process, that they tighten up that radius to match the radius across Lakeside, which would, slow speeds, favor pedestrians in that area, and it shouldn't impact traffic. I mean, that's the radius that is in the rest of the
Yeah, we
intersection,
could
so.
have some too. But you,
That could be.
And that's, and I don't want to speak, I don't know.
Oh, no,
the
no,
right to this,
everybody's in turn. Is that changing the road? what you're
That
saying?
is.
That would require, that's gonna require borough approval, but recommending that be done is not a bad idea. No, I don't think there's no out of turn questions.
okay. Anything else? So, do we have a motion to approve, this resolution?
Before you make that motion, I just have a question of how they would do this. Is their attorney going to present this to the council? Who's the one speaking on behalf of the applicant? It's not
think
you,
that-
so in other words, who's gonna be saying what you guys are saying?
I mean, I don't think that, I would assume Steve Malenik, because he can articulate it best. I haven't had that conversation with him yet. I'm gonna call him tomorrow and talk to him about one or two of these things and these little changes and the radius and everything. I assume that Steve, but I don't know that.
So would our attorney, who's gonna be sitting there,
Yep.
Bob, would he be able to read what you're having in front of him and say, yes, that is what the board is looking to do? I mean, who's gonna speak from this board at that meeting for us?
Oh,
You.
I will go, I'd love to go. And I'll explain what, how we got from here to there and what must be. And I'll give, Bob or David a
Yeah,
call.
maybe we should just
Yeah,
have so
I'll
somebody has
call.
that knowledge
Yep.
to present to the council, because the council's not gonna know anything.
Yeah, I'll call them tomorrow and get them up to speed.
Okay. Now we'll have a motion to approve, the resolution.
So moved.
Moved, seconded? Any second? Dies for lack of a second?
Second.
Okay, second. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Okay, Mr. Silverstein?
Yes.
Mr. Quigley?
Yes.
Mr. Ross?
Yes.
Mr. Sinky?
I'm going to abstain on this.
That's right.
Present.
I'm sorry.
Present.
Present. Mr. Kimberlin?
I'm going to say present.
Councilman Bennett?
Yes.
Okay.
That doesn't carry, does it?
Oh, yeah.
1, 2,
It
1,
does?
2, 3, 4. It's a
Three.
majority.
4.
Okay.
Well, it's not even 4 to 1, it's 4 and 2 abs. I have a question, though. Anyone can vote present
You do not have to vote.
or don't have to vote?
No, they don't have to vote.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I just didn't know the rule.
If they would not
Okay.
fair or don't want to.
Okay, so we have 4 yes votes.
Okay.
That passes.
Good.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Okay.
It's 4-0.
I don't think we have any new or unfinished business. I don't believe we need an executive session. I'll open the meeting to the public, and I'll close the meeting to the public, seeing there's no one here. And then I just have a few comments. This is my last meeting, I guess, after working on redevelopment for the better part of 15 or 20 years. I don't even remember. I guess this was, my third term doing this? Has this been in existence 15 years? I lose track.
Actually,
No, it's
more than 10.
More than 10,
Yeah.
right. I think it's 12, and I, served as chair the entire time, as well as being chair for a long time of the planning board and the redevelopment agency, not the redevelopment agency, and the Board of Adjustment, as well as being the president of the school board for a number of years. And again, as I said when I had to resign from the planning board, this is really bittersweet. It's not something that would have been my decision to make. All of you understand that the state of New Jersey was responsible for us being able to create this agency, and the state of New Jersey has no problem with people that don't live in the town serving on these agencies. This may be an egotistical statement, I hope not, but I think I've done a relatively good job of trying to make every meeting. I don't think I've missed a meeting of this board ever, even when I moved to Forked River. So it's bittersweet to leave. I think, though, as I look back at everything I've been accomplished in Pompton Lakes, or tried to accomplish, We've had a lot of success when I was at the school board, and we built a lot of stuff, all these agencies, people kind of forget about it. The shopping center burned down. We spent a tremendous amount of time, not through this agency, but on the planning board trying to recreate that. And I think that came out pretty well. We had a tremendous number of discussions of what it should look like. And I remember the arguments with TD Bank when they insisted that they have a white brick building, and we told them they couldn't do that. We built Lakeside Commons. We built the big buildings going up now. We approved, if you remember, there used to be, I forget even what the building was, but at Wanacue and Hamburg at the corner where there was this big old white building that got torn down, became a bank. That was another controversial thing.
That was the Vreeland House.
What?
The Vreeland House.
That was a controversial thing that we did. And the building of Iron Forge. A lot of changes have happened, along with countless swimming pools and fences and rear yards and things like that. So I think collectively, I obviously didn't do this by myself. All of you that were up here played a part in this. The folks that came before you as commissioners played a part in this. Carm, you've been tremendous in helping out. Lori was tremendous in helping out. And I can't thank you enough, Mike. I mean, you've been supportive of this, supportive of me. You've been everywhere that I've been, and I think, together we made a really good team in trying to do this. And lastly, I just want to make sure we all remember Michael Fabrizio, because he, more than any of us, was the person that was really responsible for getting this off the ground. Like me, other than the fact that he got a small compensation for doing this, he was another person that felt a tremendous commitment to Pompton Lakes, even though he didn't live here. And I will tell you that for the pittance that he got in compensation, he spent hundreds of hours here in Pompton Lakes and other places in northern New Jersey as we tried to understand redevelopment, as we tried to work with Meridia. I can't let this final meeting with me chairing this end without us remembering Michael and the things that he did. So with that, I'll call for an adjournment.
No, hold on.
Oh, sorry.
I'd like to follow up on what you're just talking about, because for the public that are watching at home, when we started, and I did not start the redevelopment. The previous mayor before me was the one who started the redevelopment.
The best mayor in Pompton Lakes history. Just say it. Just say it.
There might be an argument there, but all right. But I was lucky enough to work under her, and we worked on this together. But it was a new idea and a new plan. It was a radical plan, but we thought it was the best way to help build our downtown, bring in new revenue, bring in new buildings. So there was a lot of energy and time in just getting to the fact to have this board. And then we had to find someone to chair the board. And that was an important position. And we had Andy already, who was chairing the planning board and doing a fine job on the planning board. And again, because the laws for the state say you can do both, he actually did both boards for a while. He did the planning board and redevelopment agency, which was a great fit because we could get the information back and forth between both boards. And then we realized we needed an executive director that had some knowledge, and we brought in Mike Fabrizio, who, for whatever reason, called Pompton Lakes home and was up here all the time. And, in the beginning years, Katie had lots of meetings, and I had lots of meetings. We were getting nothing done. Nobody wanted to come here and build. It was just a spot on the map, and everyone said, fine. Michael pushed them to get one developer here, and that is the building that's going up now, the Capitaglia project, which everyone forgets. Yes, if we're looking at it from this moment on how we did it, maybe we do it different. That was the first building that came into Pompton Lakes where nobody else wanted to come in and build. Nobody. So we took a chance on him. He was taking a chance on us. And that part gets lost in the whole thing, because everyone after the fact can be a Monday morning quarterback and say, oh, we should have done this, we should have done that. At the time, nobody was doing anything because nobody wanted to do anything. We come in, we start, we have a lot of meetings. Next thing you know, we have a lot of developers knocking on our door saying we can do this, we want to do that. We have someone asking, we want to put the biggest building in North Jersey in Pompton Lake, which we got, talked about a little bit. But at the end of the day, it started the process. And I understand it completely, and I think everyone on this board, by the way, does. We're not trying to change the footprint of Pompton Lakes, we're trying to enhance the footprint of Pompton Lakes. We're trying to bring in new businesses, keep our downtown alive, bring in new residents. At the same time, downtowns are having a tough time. So, you know, when we started this, we were the only town doing this. Look around our town right now. Every town is doing it, every single town. You go up off of 80, they're building thousands of apartments at a time, not hundreds, okay? It's just the future of what it is. And if we can get a pilot and get some money out of that, that's important. Andy was a big supporter of that. I can tell you, Andy, myself, and Michael would go to the high school and talk to the kids about redevelopment before we did anything, to educate the kids. So as they got older and wanted to live here, they understood it, and they got it. The kids understood it. So Andy, I have to thank you for all the time and energy you put into this. It's unfortunate that some people felt that you have to live in town to run the board, and I can understand the logic behind it, I can.
I can too.
But they don't understand the dedication that you put into this. So I have to thank you for the time and energy you put in from Pompton Lakes for the last 30 years. The people that are new here, yes, the last 10 years has been redevelopment, but he spent 15 years on the school board. He spent another 15 years on the planning board and the zoning board. This is what Pompton's about, these kind of people, just like you guys up here. That's what it's about, so I have to thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
We all do, Andy. I mean, when I was the chairman of the zoning board, I remember meeting you at Starbucks when it was opened up for a cup of coffee to go over things, and
Yeah.
you've been tremendous, and you taught me a lot on this board, and we're all grateful for your service. Honest to God, thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you for
Thanks. I
a life
appreciate
well
that.
lived.
I appreciate it. I mean, it's kind of like a labor of love. I mean, you want to see the town that you really have feelings for thrive. And one of the things, just what you said before about, when we started this, we were very careful when we created the redevelopment zone not to impinge on any residential properties. We just concentrated on the downtown, and we've been faithful to that. So, I appreciate all the kind words, and I'll miss doing this, but I'll be around if you need me.
I'll miss you.
Okay? Thank you.
Wish you the best.
Okay, thanks. Now we'll have a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So moved. Done.
Last meeting, so just so you guys know, you're gonna have
We off?
No, I.
a reorg meeting, right, where you'll pick a new chair.